So,
It's all just a fate.
all right.
Super
So
nice.
the next game that we are going to review is the H1Z1 Early Access.
I think this is a Brad and I topic
Yeah.
here too.
Yeah, this is pretty
Anybody
much
that
it.
has the game can participate.
Nope.
So, Christian,
So,
go ahead.
um, okay, so I want to first off start off by saying that the game did look promising. The game looked really promising, before before it was released and stuff. And the promise of the no pay to win interactions, such as, no guns in the care or not the care packages, but the airdrops. There were supposed to be no guns in there. Miss Soccer doesn't seem too happy with the game, but the game looked promising, and I was really hoping it'd be good because I played a bit of DayZ when it first came out. I was like, all right, it's just pretty cool. I like this, but then over time, I was just like, I'm done with this game. I need something new. There's not really anything new in terms of survival horror aspect, I guess you would say that. It's more like survival zombies. But the game came out, and first things first is the game didn't even work day one, which was not a good thing for the company at all whatsoever. But after getting a chance to sit down and play it while it's working and playing out the game modes that are in there, like right now there's only battle royale and regular, survival and PvP and all that good stuff. That's usually in those kind of games. After I had a chance to sit down and play them for a bit and actually test out all the stuff in there, and the airdrops, like I'm starting to understand that they're not like they kind of buffed them out with the zombies, because when you drop an airdrop, zombies spawn in there. So they kind of buff it out and make it kind of like a risky pay to win in a way, like so you're not always gonna 100% get the case. You're not like, yeah, like some people come up, kill the zombies, take the stuff, and sometimes it's very risky. So you don't have to buy them if you don't want to, but you can most definitely. And I think the game ships with like 3 airdrops. So overall, the game's not terrible. Okay, so I'm not gonna say the game's really good, but I'm not gonna say the game's bad because it isn't. It's decent. They definitely have some things to work out, but you need to remember that the game is early access and an alpha. So the game's not going to be polished. It's not going to be finished. There's going to be bugs. Things are not like done yet. So hopefully the company continues to work out what they're doing with the game and make it, the next survival zombie game of all time. So that's what I have to say for it. I don't know. What
right.
do you guys say, Brad?
So, H1Z1, I mean, I'd seen a couple of streamers play it and whatnot. And, I mean, the game itself looked pretty good. I mean, I'd seen some things from, DayZ or whatnot, and they didn't look like something I really wanted to play. Whereas H1Z1, it feels like it kind of took DayZ, and it just made it a little bit to where I would like it. So, I mean, it's that aspect for me was pretty good, but I mean, I don't exactly know what it was, but it was just something in the game. I don't know, but okay, so the graphics in the game, they're pretty good. I mean, Sony Online Entertainment, they did a pretty good job with that. I don't really have a problem with the graphics. That's fine. The gameplay feel to it, the gameplay feel can have you on edge at times because you don't know where people are, and all of a sudden, somebody starts talking in your ear, you freak out because you don't have a weapon or you don't have a gun, whatever. And the music in the game too. The music in the game, once again, puts you on edge, and it's like I don't know what it is. It's just, it feels like the game wants to come alive, kind of. And it's just like it's like a horror game, I guess, where like the game doesn't really feel like a horror game, but it feels like a horror game at times when the music happens and there's people around you. You don't know if you're gonna die. It is interesting. I mean, I had never played a zombie MMO before H1Z1, and it is interesting. Now, there is one thing that they definitely need to change, and that is the idea, or well, it's not the idea. It's the it's not balanced. The guns themselves work. I don't really have a problem with the guns. They may need to fix a couple things though. I think that sometimes they do a little bit too much damage, whereas other times they're fine. But
Ooh, Mr. Cure with a good question.
Yeah, I like that question here real quick. This is what they said. I have a statement to make. Why do 80% of new games come out are released with alphas? Seriously, I get some games, but most of them are coming out way too early. Even some of them don't get finished or take too long. An example, DayZ or Stomping Land, which got shut down. I didn't get a chance to play Stomping Land, but I heard it was all right. But
yeah, I like that's definitely a big thing that people have been talking about. H1Z1. That's like one of the big things they're talking about is that a lot of these companies, they know that this is something that people want now, and if they can get people interested in it, then they can hook an audience. And if they can hook them early on, then pretty much no other game is going to be able to top them. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to capture that audience before anybody else can. So I think that's what they're trying to do with the early access.
We were also talking about that a bit earlier because you also said also being games not finished on release. With games that aren't being released, it just feels like companies just don't care anymore. Yeah. It feels like they're not trying as hard as they should, and they're just wanting to release these games just for money. But that's not all companies. I'm not speaking for all companies, but it just feels like that's pretty much what's been happening.
Yeah,
so
it's like we can make a pile of shit and we can sell it and it'll go through. Like there's no quality assurance whatsoever.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also one thing where early access, you have to definitely be careful about what you buy, because there are games that they are basically scams because they will shut it down eventually, and you have to be careful about those.
Wait, why'd you tell them to wait till they're done talking? What are you talking about?
I just found new news on Battlefront.
Well, later. We're talking about
yeah,
H1Z1.
we'll talk about Battlefront.
I know,
That'll come up with
wait till they're done.
Right. So, once going back to they need to balance stuff. Physically, doing damage with your hands or a stick, those definitely need to be improved, because you can definitely beat the crap out of somebody with a stick, and it may sound weird, like it can't happen, but I mean it can happen, and they need to think about that, because the way that they have taken the hands and a stick, it's kind of like if you don't have a gun, you're fucked. And that's what they're kind of doing here, and I don't really like that, because you won't stand a chance. The only time you stand a chance is if you have a bow.
Yeah.
Or if that person has a bow, you can actually kill them, because they have to take time to, pull the bow back and try to aim. So, they need to balance this game. And that's one of the big issues. But the game itself looks really nice. I mean, it is kind of just your average, zombie MMO, except there's not as many bugs, which is really nice. They just need to balance it.
They also need to throw in some VAC bans.
Yeah, they need to throw some VAC bans in. That's another big issue.
It's
a huge issue. And there's also, what was I going to say? Game modes. They need more game modes. That's another thing that they should add. And of course, that's not really going to count toward our final score with game modes, because it is early access. But yeah, so
I can't give it a full review of it right now, because of course early access.
It is very unfinished. It is
so,
very unfinished.
So just a small kind of rating.
Alpha wise, I want to say I give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm about
All right,
that
that's
same.
reasonable.
Yeah,
for early
I'm about the
access.
same. I'm at about a 6 out of 10. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot they could have improved when the game released itself in alpha. I feel like there's some stuff that they could have done beforehand. But I still feel like the game is decent. It's not bad. It's not really good. It's not something I'm like, oh, you know what? H1Z1, greatest game ever. But 6.5 out of 10, I think, is a pretty decent score. We'll see how that changes when the game is fully released, if it ever fully releases.
Yeah.
Unless it goes DayZ status on us, which will be amazing. So that's my opinion. What about Brad? What do you got? review?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'll probably give it a 6 out of 10. And the 6 out of 10 is coming from the fact that this was Sony like it is Sony Online Entertainment, and I feel that with this being a higher end company, I mean they did just get sold, but it is still a higher end company, and I feel like they know they have a fan base for this right now, and they know that if they want to keep that fan base, they don't do what DayZ did. So it's just they need to know their audience. They need to know what they want. They don't want another stupid airdrop shit that they did before, and just keep everybody happy basically, and make new weapon. Like there is a problem with you don't find enough variety of things in the game. I mean, there's literally like 2 or 3 guns in the game, it feels like, and it's like I want more. I want different kinds of melee weapons. It's just it's like you just want more out of it, and it's just that's pretty much why it's a 6 out of 10. Like it's the idea is there. The idea is there, and the foundation is set. It's just the fact that they need to add more content.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But that's H1Z1. What is up next?
So that is H1Z1.